Hello and welcome back to Question and Answers with Lee. Does my camera look crooked? I don't know. Maybe I'm crooked. I'm getting older. Getting a bit lopsided. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am wearing eyeliner. I'm going to get it tattooed on. So if that upsets some people, too bad. I don't care. Me knowing that it probably upsets you brings me great joy. Okay, we have a question. What is your favorite color? No, that's not the question at all. What is the most important part of bodybuilding? The food, the training, the consistency, the day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, constantly doing it, the building the big muscles. Now, in all seriousness, when it comes to bodybuilding, the most important part of bodybuilding, sure, is going to be genetics. That's going to play a huge part. But let's just say you got the genetics to be a bodybuilder, whether it's a mid-level, state level, national level, or you got the top of the top genetics to be a pro. No matter what level of bodybuilding you're going to be in, the most important part and the part you're going to rely on the most and need the most, and that's going to help you the most, is this. That's right, the tattoo. No, your brain, your drive and mental focus, your concentration level, perseverance to go through the dieting, because it's going to suck. You're going to have that mental toughness to go through the training day after day when it hurts and you don't feel like going, but you got to go. When you're getting into that contest mode where you're eating the same food day after day after day, it gets a bit boring. You got to scale back activities, but I mentioned on another video, you don't have to completely stop living life, but yes, there'll be a lot of things that you want to do, but now you're in contest mode. It's going to take up the majority of your thinking and that side of your brain, or your whole brain really. I would probably say the most important part would be the mentality side, your brain, your focus, because without that you can't really do anything in bodybuilding or in life. Because if you ever watch videos of Arnold, when he talked about his bodybuilding, you know, what he learned from bodybuilding, the way he focused on bodybuilding, the way he organized stuff, the way he planned things, that whole routine, you know, getting into a routine of, and that determination, that when he was out of bodybuilding, he put that same drive and passion and focus into his acting, motion, action movies. He was one of the biggest stars in action movies. Yes, there's better actors, but when it comes to box office names and pulling the money in when he was out there, he was always one of the best. And then when he wanted to get into politics, he put that same focus and drive and mentality into politics and governor. People laughed, oh fuck, you're going to go in and be a governor, ha ha ha. Pretty much even bodybuilding. And then acting, they laughed at him. Oh, you're not going to be an actor. You can barely speak English. They can't pronounce your name. But he said, fuck that. And he focused on it. And so that's the main thing. If you get into bodybuilding, you got to have that tunnel vision. Even though you got tunnel vision, you can have little doors on the sides of the tunnel. So I go to the gym. I'm focused on my training. I'm focused on my cardio. But now that I'm at home, I can open up this side door and go outside and play with the dogs for a couple of minutes and come back in. Because when you're doing those other little things like that, it helps your brain tremendously, and it helps you even become a better bodybuilder. As I've discussed in another video, but probably hasn't come out yet, about being hardcore. Hardcore doesn't mean you have to be mentally focused 24/7 on bodybuilding, where that just consumes your life to no end, that you actually burn out, you become sort of bitter, you sort of hate it because you're thinking about training, you're thinking about dieting, you talk about it all the time, so your friends hate you, your family hates you, and you're miserable. So when it comes to bodybuilding, the most important part will be that, because there are going to be days you don't want to go to the gym, but you know, if you're competing and it's your profession, you have to go. There's going to be days where you go, oh, I don't want to eat chicken breasts again, I don't want to eat rice again, but guess what? You got to eat it. There's going to be days when you go back and it's like, this hurts, that hurts, you know. Muscle soreness is always going to be there, but then there's going to be days where it won't be muscle soreness, it'll just be wear and tear, like a shoulder might hurt or your knee might hurt. But you think, shit, I've still got to compete, I've still got to get ready for this show. So you got to use your head, be smart, and work out, okay, well, I can't do this exercise. You know, you got to try and work around some type of aches and pains, as long as it's not serious where you're going to do damage and cripple yourself. But you know, we've all had elbows, wrists, shoulders, knees that have hurt, where you just got to use your head and go, okay, we're doing that movement hurts, but if I do this movement, it doesn't. So sometimes You got to do things that are not what you're used to normally doing, but you got to do it. And then, like I said, yeah, the drug side, but that's not, sadly now, young kids, if you said what's the most important part or the most important thing about bodybuilding, it'll be steroids. Whereas when I first started, it was the training, the food, the resting and stuff like that. So say you're training by yourself and you're doing something, you get to a point where you're like, oh, this really hurts. This really hurts. What's the first thing? Whatever little voice in your head says, stop doing it. Don't do it. It's hurting. Why are you doing this? So what do? You stop. Generally though, if you've got a training partner there and you get to that point and you're starting to struggle and it's hurting, he goes, 5 more. And you, you might think, fuck, 5 more. But guess what? You do it. Because now all of a sudden you're focused. He's telling you to do 5 more and you do 5 more. You got to learn, like I learned, and other people too, Tom Platts or them, you got to learn to do that even when nobody's there, because trust me, I've had those days where you're doing leg extensions and they burn and you're like, oh, that hurts, I'm going to stop. So I stop. But I know I got more in there because this will always give out before the muscle. Like when your legs are burning and you're like, fuck it, I'm going to stop here. And you do stop. Like I said, now, because I've done it before, it's burning, I'm going to stop. No, Lee, you can't stop. I'll pick something. I might look over at a machine and it might say life fitness. And just that word life, I say, okay, L-I-F-E. I got to do a rep for every letter in that word. I just focus on something like that and I kick them out easy. So you just got to find ways to train your brain that in certain circumstances where if you are training alone and your mind, like I said, it's just the body's defense mechanism. Like you wouldn't sit there and hit your hand with a hammer all day because you'd stop. But I'm sure you could if you could get past the pain threshold. So just learn to really focus here on what you do and get that mind. I know we always talk about mind-muscle connection, but it's true. So like I said, anytime you're like, oh, always train better with a training partner. Why? Because you're not so focused on that pain, or you're not listening to that voice in your head saying stop. The voice in your head might say stop, but then if you've got a training partner saying, do another one more, and you go, one more, you're like, fuck, do one more, you're like, fuck, where'd that come from? I've had training partners spot me sometimes where I can be struggling. I think, fuck, I got nothing left, I'm going to put it back. He goes, no, you do 2 more. All of a sudden, okay, boom, and I'm like, fuck, did you help me? It's like, no. It's like, it's just that some switch in there turns on and you fucking pump out more. So when you say what is the most important part of bodybuilding, I would say having a strong mind and a mind-muscle connection. Yes, of course. Man, people yelling at the screen, it's the fucking drugs, it's the genetics. Yeah, that's all part of it. But the drugs, the genetics, the eating, the going to the gym, you can have all that and still be shit if you don't have it up here. I've seen some of the most gifted people with genetics for bodybuilding who don't have it up here mentally to train hard, to go past that pain, who could have been great and never did. Or they get so far and just go, oh, I can't do it anymore. Then you get the ones who don't have the best genetics, but they're so headstrong and they're so mentally focused, they can beat people who have the greatest genetics, because the ones with the greatest genetics, just like, they're very blasé. And it's like that in any job, any work. If you're mentally focused enough and you put your mind to it, you can do anything within reason, if you've got the genetics to do it, of course. I can't say you can do anything, because I could have the mind to be focused on a basketball player, but I'm not going to be in the NBA. But I could probably play good basketball if I put my mind to it, like I did with the racing and won the championship and stuff like that. So if you got everything else in your basket, your genetics, your food, your resting, that's going to be the most important thing. So learn to control that and use it wisely. You know, don't train angry, don't train this, don't train that. When you go to the gym, you want to go there, be focused on the exercise, put everything else out of your mind, put your phone in your fucking gym bag. I don't care if you say you got it for music, fuck that. Just go an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours with no phone. Focus on you and yourself and your training. And like I said, having a phone there and that, you can have a strong mind, but that's going to blip, blip. Your mind set's gone. So I hope that helps you out. And that is the most important thing. Your mind and your concentration and the ability to use it wisely for the sport that you have chosen, which is bodybuilding. So I'll speak to you all next time. Take care and train hard. Thank you for asking us pros anything and being a part of AMA. If you aren't a part of AMA, subscribe now.